Screech by Taran NCT on AO3. Episode 5, Chapter 5. Izuku quietly ate his lunch. He was sitting on the roof of the school, barely managing to escape from the horde of students who suddenly wanted to be his friend since he had a quirk. And not just any quirk. No, he's got an avian quirk. Those are cool, flashy, rare, heroic. I'm the same person today that it was yesterday, he thought to himself. They didn't like me on Monday. They shouldn't suddenly like me on Wednesday. They still don't like you. They still hate you. I know, he answered himself. They'll be leaving flowers on your desk again by Friday. I know, he repeated. Thinking back on how he revealed his quirk, he probably could have done it a bit better. But Bakugou had frustrated him and threatened him. Now that Izuku was able to tell people about his quirk, he was in a different league than most of the others. His quirk really was amazing. And that wasn't just him being a proud little bird. He had range with his Screech. He could fly, he could hear and see way better than a regular person. And he had close combat abilities with his talons. He could probably blast Bakugou away with a Screech before he got close. And if he did get close, he could rip him apart. But still, he didn't really mean to antagonize Bakugou the way he did. Silence stretched uncomfortably as Izuku folded his wings, leaving them out, but not all the way. I've had a quirk for years. That's bullshit, Bakugou snarled. If you had a quirk this whole time, why have you been acting quirkless, huh? You looking down on me, huh? What? What makes you think that? When have I ever... You know what? Yes, I am looking down on you. That was definitely not one of his brightest moments, but at the time, the teacher had stopped the altercation from getting any worse, and now he could hear Bakugou running around the school looking for him, screaming about how he was going to explode his face. The building doesn't technically have roof access, so Bakugou wasn't likely to find him up here. Unless he remembers you're a bird. Yeah, there was that. Izuku hadn't flown up to the roof, though. He had climbed up the tree next to the building that was tall enough to reach the roof. He liked how the bullies never realized he was here. It was the only time he ever got any peace while at school. Izuku stared at his phone, and it started buzzing. He wasn't expecting anyone to call or text him. Pulling out his phone, he stared at it. There was a new text, but he didn't know the number. Unknown. Hey, baby bird, I see you're on a roof again. You need to talk to someone? Oh, I wonder when Hawks got my number, Izuku murmured, looking up and shielding his eyes from the sun. Izuku saw Hawks' silhouette way up in the sky. He briefly considered flipping him off, but decided to give a small wave instead. Izuku. Not really, I'm just having lunch. It's peaceful on the roof. Hawks. Oh, lunch break. I haven't had mine. How much longer do you have? I'll join you. Izuku. About 5 minutes? Hawks. Boo, too short to get something. But I can still keep you company for the rest of the lunch period. Izuku. Really rather you didn't. Don't want anyone to see you up here and realize I'm here too. Hawks. Aw, are you embarrassed, baby bird? Izuku. The roof is where I go to get away from the bullies. If they find out I come up here because of you, I will disown you. Hawks. Fine, I'll leave you alone for lunch, but I'm going to escort you home after school. I bet you want to go flying, right? Izuku's entire face lit up at that. Yes, he wanted to go flying. He wasn't able to fly all yesterday, nor last night. He was buzzing with excitement as he returned to class. When the bell rang at the end of the day, Izuku dashed out of the class and was happy to see Hawks really was waiting for him at the school gates. Without even stopping to greet the older bird, Izuku spread his wings and took to the sky in a fury of gray and white wings. He smiled when he heard Hawks's indignant squawk as he quickly tried to catch up. Baby bird, really? I was kinda expecting at least a hello, you know? He said as he caught up. Izuku was fast, but not as fast as Hawks. After all, owls weren't built for speed, but for stealth. I miss the sky, Izuku replied. And if you wanted a hello, then maybe don't stand at the school gates next time. You were attracting too much attention. Oh, that's fair, I guess. The two soared lazily for a few minutes before he asked, Anywhere in particular you want to go, baby bird? Not really, but can we stop at a racer's place so I can drop off my bag and change out of my uniform? Sure, I still haven't gotten lunch. There was this villain fight right as I was about to get some chicken, so I'm more than willing to take you to dinner. Please say you like chicken. Hawks pleaded. Is that your stupid question of the day? Of course I do. What kind of raptor doesn't like chicken? Thank you! You don't even want to know how many times a day I get called a cannibal for liking chicken. Hawks smiled brightly. Anyone who doesn't know raptors eat birds is an uneducated moron, Izuku snarled. 20 minutes later, found both birds on a billboard with a bucket of chicken. How was your day? I seem to recall you were pretending to be quirkless before, but you didn't hesitate to fly off today. Something change? Hawks asked. Oh, yeah. Detective Sakuauchi took me to get my quirk registered yesterday, and Shouta updated my information at the school today. I don't know if I was originally going to let out the truth today, but the teacher wouldn't just let me come to class late without an explanation. Izuku scowled at the chicken before he took a bite, even though I had a late pass that explained it to him. Dick move there, Hawk stated around a mouthful of chicken. Izuku huffed out a small laugh. Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as other things he's done. Dude, little chick, do I need to try to get a teacher fired? It's more like the whole school, he replied sardonically. No one wants to see this stupid quirkless kid do well. So I've had grades altered, homework lost, attention for fighting and being a distraction in class. Sometimes I wasn't even allowed to go to lunch. It's the same with all the quirkless kids. Izuku shrugged. Hawks was quiet for a few minutes, processing all of that. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. He whispered, finally. And that was just from the teachers. Yeah, the students like to use their quirks to hurt quirkless kids. The teachers never even pretend to care. Izuku stared out into the distance, lost in thought. I haven't met any other quirkless kid in person, but I'm on a few forums. It's the same with all of us. Hawks put his arm around Izuku and leaned into his hug. Most of the people on the forums have talked about killing themselves, and I've seen a few posts where some did a suicide pact, and then their names were never seen again. He rubbed at his eyes. A few tears had started falling. Hawks's hold on him tightened. Promise me, Owlette, that you won't try again. Izuku was silent. Baby bird, I'm serious. I know you are, he said. I just don't want to break a promise. He buried his face in Hawks's shoulder. I want to say I won't, but I don't know if I'm at a place yet where I can say for sure that I'm good. I'll talk to Eraser about getting you some therapy. Hawks was rubbing his fingers through Izuku's hair, lightly scratching at his scalp. In the meantime, how about a different promise? For the next week, promise me you won't try. If I can't get a full-on never again promise, I'll at least try to get a short time frame promise. Izuku smiled softly at Hawks. Okay, I can do that, Hawks. Keigo, came his reply. My name is Tamaki Keigo. Call me Keigo. Okay, I can do that. Keigo. Turns out, promising a week was a bit more difficult than Izuku had thought. He had managed to make it to Friday without any issues. But while he was on his way home from school, he saw his mom. She was on the phone, and Izuku could hear she was talking to the principal of Eldera, discussing his sudden quirk manifestation. Izuku had made sure his mother didn't see him, but she didn't have to see him and talk to him for his self-worth to plummet. Izuku had made it home, and was glad that Hizashi was already home. He leapt into the man's arms and held on tight, tears quickly soaking his shirt. There was no way he could be home alone right now, with nothing but his thoughts to keep him company. "Oh, sweetie, what happened?" Hizashi asked, holding Izuku just as tightly as Izuku was holding him. Izuku shook his head. He didn't want to talk. He just wanted to be held. Hizashi was definitely willing to give the little bird all the comfort he needed. Hizashi and Izuku stayed on the couch for a few hours, until Shouta and Hitoshi returned home. Shouta took a look at them, and with a concerned look, asked, "What happened?" With a sad look, Hizashi whispered, "He hasn't said yet." Hitoshi moved to sit on one of the couches, wanting to help but not sure how. Then Shouta sat next to Izuku and ran his hands through his curls. "Hey, kid, can you try to tell us?" Izuku sniffled a little and said, "Keigo made me promise He made me promise not to kill myself for a week." His voice broke as he continued. "It hasn't even been 3 days, and I want to break my promise." All three took a sharp breath. "Oh, little one." Hizashi was interrupted. "I saw my mom. She didn't see me, but she was on the phone with my principal. She kept calling me useless, and then the principal told her I had a quirk. She started to refer to me as it. And then she said she didn't know or care where I was, that I wasn't her problem anymore." Izuku was still clinging to Hizashi, and it seems as though his hands had locked their grips. So there was no letting go. I don't know why you're bothering with me. I'm just some useless bird. I'm not worth anything. You never should have taken me in." Izuku's tears, that had stopped a while ago, had come back full force. "I just want to end it, but I promised Keigo I wouldn't." An hour or so later, once Shouta had dinner ready, Izuku had finally let go of Hizashi. The four of them were seated at the kitchen table. "Thank you," Izuku whispered. "Thank you for being there for me. I know I'm a mess right now, but you didn't leave me. Thank you." "Izuku," Shouta said, "you might not be in the best mental space right now, but you're still worthy of being loved." They finished dinner quietly, and Hitoshi gently grabbed Izuku's sleeve and dragged him into his room to talk alone. "I'm not sure if you know this or not," Hitoshi started, "but Dad and Pops adopted me when I was 7. I did hear you were an emergency foster and later adopted, but that's all I was told. My birth parents, well, one of the neighbors had suspicions that they were mistreating me, and one night, while they were out, they had gotten mugged. Dad had saved them. Instead of just saying thank you and going about the rest of their night, they told him they thought their neighbors were abusing their kid." Hitoshi paused there, tracing a scar on his cheek. "My parents had kept me in a closet with a too small muzzle for years at that point, from the time my quirk had manifested at 4, until Dad came and got me out. Trust me, Izuku, if anyone knows anything about self-deprecating suicidal thoughts, it's me. Dad and Pops will do what they can to comfort you. But if you need to talk to someone who gets it, who still sometimes thinks only the worst about themselves, I'll always be here to talk to. Izuku, I'll always be here to talk to. Izuku hugged him. Thank you, Hitoshi. That was a very dark chapter. Okay. I just want to know if you ever feel like Izuku, please talk to somebody. Get therapy. I'm a biggest modder of like biggest enthusiast of the saying not everyone needs therapy, because obviously there's some people who need therapy, right? Obviously people who actually need it. Like without it like therapy is a lifeline for them. Therapy, whether it be the actual therapy itself that helps them or the fact that therapy gives them the medication that they need. Like for example, transgendered people to get, the gender affirming care that they want, they have to go through therapy, and it's an extensive process from what I've heard, which is again why I want a therapist. I need that diagnosis so I could, get started. But obviously there's people like that. Then there's people who have obviously mental issues, whether it be anxiety, extreme anxiety, depression, any type of personality disorder where you need either, just speech therapy, whatever type of therapy, or medications or stuff like that if you choose to use medications. And a bunch of other stuff, right? So, like, not everybody needs therapy. There's some people who do need therapy, whether it be for their own safety or the safety of others. But for the most part, it almost always lands for their own safety. And for their, to make sure that they don't do something to harm themselves or others. Or just, to make it easier day by day, like those people with depression who really do benefit from antidepressants, because not everybody who's depressed benefits from antidepressants. Sometimes antidepressants can have the opposite effect. It just depends on you and your situation and stuff like that, and obviously like your type of depression and things like that, right? But obviously those people don't necessarily need it to not harm themselves or others, but it makes it easier to live day by day, or again, ADHD people who take medication to help them go throughout the day, whether it is because they genuinely need it, whether it is because it makes them better, or even those who just have the diagnosis and don't take medication, which is still valid. You can choose to take medication or not. That is your option. That is your choice. Obviously there's times when like you don't really have a choice, like when it's like an actual like a medical issue, where if you don't take it, it's life or death, like insulin. We gotta love that. I swear insulin should be free. But even though you don't need it, everybody would benefit from it. Not everybody needs it, everybody would benefit though. Big motto of that. I feel healthcare in general should be free, if I'm being honest. That includes mental health, because I know a lot of the times people say, healthcare, we want free healthcare, but they never refer to as therapy as well, right? And the only therapy they add there is physical therapy. When like your leg or your arm or your wrist or whatever, which is like, yeah, that type of therapy is great. It helps people with their muscles. It helps people with their with all of that. But what about your mind? Like, stop like not thinking about your mind. Your mind is wonderful, stupid sometimes, but wonderful. God, I really need to study psychology. Maybe that's what I'll study for college. Psychology. Hey, that don't sound that bad. Fuck, now I'm excited. I've been really excited for therapy lately. Like, it's been a surge. Like, I've been going through notes, and I've been... Yeah. Oh, fuck, I might do it, but Please take care of yourself. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. Hey, and if you need to vent in my comments, go ahead, vent in my comments. I'll read them. I'll probably not get to all of them. And if I heart them, that means I read it. And if I don't reply, that just means I have no idea what to reply because social interaction scares me. I'm sure you guys can agree with that. Social interaction is hard. But we love to see Hawks being a bigger brother. And also, I love that whole short term. Because sometimes it's really hard to look long term for people like that. I know from experience that sometimes it's literally day by day, and sometimes it's literally promising that one person that stops you. Or for me, my whole thing was at least make it to high school, and then that's good. Made it through high school. Now I have a cat, so I can't do it. That's not my real reason. I've gotten better. I've gotten better. Don't ask me how. I have no fucking clue. Actually, no, I have a clue. AO3. AO3 is my life lord and savior, and I hope AO3 can save you. God, I sound like one of those religious people trying to get you into the religion. Get an AO3 account. Read more AO3 fanfictions. Learn AO3. AO3. Okay, whatever. Point taken as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.